Hey guys, thanks for joining me for my YouTube video today. I have waited quite a while to make a video and I apologize. I have been overwhelmed with life, but I am back and I am ready to drop some pretty, hopefully informative videos for you. I have one thing today that I want to go over. It's going to be some advice for people who want to become an esthetician. I have been asked by numerous friends, clients, family members, you name it, just different people, Instagram followers, how to become an esthetician, what it entails, any tips or advice. And I have some advice, and I don't want to be too far removed from having gone to school to forget about the questions and the problems and dilemmas that I found myself in. Whether they're big or little, doesn't matter. If I can maybe talk to you guys about them, then they'll be helpful to you. Or for whoever, is watching, it could lead you down a different path or a better path than what you originally had planned. So hopefully this is helpful. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe and follow. It would really help me out for my channel. I am interested in growing my channel and actually being on here at least once a week and providing some good information for you guys. So please let me know if there's anything that you have questions about. Okay, so one of the things I want to do, I want to make sure that I don't want to go into too much of this being about me and how I got to become an esthetician. I can save that for another video because it's going to totally take us down a whole rabbit hole of things that I don't want to consume this video with. The first thing I want to make sure I let you know is literally want to point out that if you're going to go into school, you want to find out the cost range. I have found from like about $5,000 all the way up to $22,000. So if you're going to be an esthetician, I would definitely say start to assess the prices and see what you're going to work with. Look at the reviews as to what devices were available, like how was the school for the clients, the students. The students are going to be the ones leaving the reviews. So you want to see, what did the students say? Did the students say that their machines were working? Were they always broken? Were the instructors always changing? Were the instructors long-term, and had they been there for a long time? That's going to make a difference as to the quality of education you're going to receive, pretty much, and the people that they're bringing to you, their experience. And I was fortunate. I had amazing instructors. I went to SWINA, which is short for Southwest Institute of Natural Aesthetics. And I am so happy that I went there. I was so thankful that I found that school and that I was close enough to attend a class there and in the evening. I worked full-time during the day as a dental hygienist, and then I went to school there in the evening from, I believe it was 5:30 until 10 o'clock at night, Monday through Thursday. And so one of the things that I did was I looked at the reviews to find out of all these schools what the feedback was. I could kind of tell by the wording. Sometimes people were just very open in their reviews about schools, like, I'm coming from this industry, I'm coming from that industry, and I'm very new to the field, and this school was horrible at getting me ready for the real world of esthetician work. Or this school really helped me. I had never worked one-on-one with people before, and the teachers and instructors and the methods and the protocol was amazing, and it helped me through a lot of growth. Like, I really went into detail and checked out the reviews. Number one, so check out the reviews, because the reviews are coming usually from the students, and you are going to be a student there. You are going to be paying a lot of money. I don't care whether you are, you just won the lottery or you are working at Taco Bell for minimum wage. It doesn't matter where your money comes from. We all want to make sure that we get our money's worth when we're paying for things. So make sure that you get a good deal and that you really get to learn the things that you need to learn to get out and be at least introduced to certain methods in the field that you need. So I chose SWINA. What I did was I went through and did a walkthrough. This all happened right before COVID. I went through and did a walkthrough of the school, and I knew already the school's reputation just gently throughout the valley in Phoenix, where I'd heard about it. I'd met people who had been there before as students and as like models, student models that go in there and have things done like facials and massages and whatnot. So for me, the reputation had already been in my ears for a couple of decades, along with other new schools. And I picked them, I chose them. They had the best reviews, they had the best cost, they were the most professional with me on the phone and in person. And I really went and trusted their reviews from the students. The students left great reviews about them. Next thing I would say, now you have maybe a list of 3 schools that you're going to go and kind of look and walk through, talk to the instructors if you can, talk to some of the students that you see out in the parking lot. I did that. And what you want to do is just ask them some quick questions. What do they love about the school and what do they not like? I also want to recommend that every state is different. Every state is different, of course, right? Every state governs themselves. Every state has what is acceptable and not acceptable for things like nurses, doctors. Every branch of anything licensed in every state is going to have a specific set of rules and protocol that you can do legally and that you cannot. You're going to want to find out exactly what items you can do and perform treatment-wise for your customers. I would really make sure that you ask every school and take notes the same questions. What do you teach for an esthetician when they leave and they get licensed from your school after they pass their board, their state boards? What am I going to be allowed to do? And just compare their answers, compare what they educate you on. Make sure you ask them what their rate is of passing, like how many people actually pass the board from the school. Most schools work very hard at trying to make sure that they can get a very high 99% to 100% pass rate. You want to make sure that you ask them what kind of support do they offer for their students after you leave. And that could mean like things like discounts on certifications for things like microneedling. Some states don't allow it, some states do. For dermaplaning, some states allow it, some states don't. Things like brow tinting, some states allow it, some states don't. I'm not the kind of person that gets into an argument about why a state does or doesn't allow things. I adapt, I go with what I can do, and I try to be the best at it that I can be. I don't waste my time arguing over whether things should be or shouldn't be. I get told what I can do, and I make the best of it. And if there's ever anything I can do to help support opening up the door for estheticians to do in a state, I'll be on board on the side. But I'm not going to sit there and have a debate about what should be or shouldn't be legal. I just try to keep my mind focused and head straight forward into what certificates am I going to be able to get after I get out of your school program. That's very important. Okay, so another question that I get asked a lot is, what about the pay range? What am I going to get paid when I get out? So this isn't going to be a discussion. I don't want to make it. I mean, if we want to talk about it, we can, but I don't want to make the conversation get to what should people get paid and we should get paid more and we deserve more. Listen, if you ask me what I'm worth, I'm going to say like $1,000 an hour. Okay. So like, I don't want to get caught on that section. I just want to say that this is what is right now or what I've found. And then from there, I am totally going to be always behind owning your own business. I'm always going to, for women, going to be like all about the freedom and the power to grow as an entrepreneur, to grow as a person, because it takes a lot of growth to run a business. To run a business, I don't care if you are selling lollipops or you own a huge corporation that creates all the lollipops in the world. It is a growth process. You are going to learn things about yourself you never realized. You're going to learn things about your past self that you don't want to recognize or realize, but it's all growth. And to me, that is what life is all about. And on my deathbed, I want to know that I gave everything that I could, or at least tried. So for me, that is worth the effort and the risk. But for other people, that may not be what they want. They may want to literally only do brow waxing on Sunday mornings for 5 hours. And other people only want to do lash extensions, and that's it. Other people want to do facials only on Monday afternoons from 2 to 7. Others want to do facials 7 days a week. We're all different in that aspect. So my point of view, my perspective is, this is where I'm coming from, is I guess what I'm trying to say. I'm going to be more gung-ho than maybe other people might look at it. But I do believe that the pay starts with estheticians at about $12 an hour, which can be minimum wage in some states, all the way up to about $30. I've met some ladies that work in like cosmetic practices, surgeons, med spas, different types of arrangements, and business owners, going from plastic surgeons to dermatologists to internal medicine and things like Massage Envy and some of the chains, that do like hire estheticians for facials. So, and waxers and waxing too, and lashes. So there are a lot of different areas you can work in as an esthetician, but I truly feel like It's an amazing license to have because of the fact that you can have your own business and work on your own and also assume a lot of responsibility and risk, but it's still worth it, I feel. And that's where the money is going to be. That's a little higher than working as an employee, right? Always more risk, more reward in essence. And I feel like the friends that I've made that are estheticians that run their own offices or have their own facial studios or what have you, they usually run from about $30,000 a year to over $100,000 a year. Now, that's gross profit. That's before taxes come out. And, you know, I don't want to act like having your own esthetician studio is going to, or business is going to give you $500,000 a year. I don't think that's the case. I once read a book called the 80-20 rule. And if I apply that, it's probably about 20% of the estheticians are going to make very nice large amount of money and have a lot of work they're putting in for that, and 80% are going to be less than. It really depends on where you want to sit on that pyramid. So it's really up to you. But when you have a license and you have the drive and you have the education and you have the assertiveness, the development or the personal development or the drive for it, I think that you will eventually get to where you want to be. So that being said, remember that the pay may not be what you think it's going to be, and you may not be happy with it. Find out now before you go into it, because if you are the kind of person that gets into a 15 an hour job and you are upset because you feel like you're working really hard and you think that you should be getting paid more, getting upset about it and griping and fighting and arguing with people is not going to get you the pay that you want. You're going to want to face the truth about the pay right off the bat, and then find out what you can do to bring your skill level up higher so that you can make that money. Have a goal in mind of what you'd like to make per hour, and then figure out while you're in school where you're going to fit in that. Some people I know are okay with 12, 13, 14, 15 an hour. Some people I know would not settle for that and they want 18, 19, 20. Other people that I've spoken with, they are not happy with that. They want 40, 50, 60. Everyone's different. And so what's good for one's not always good for another, but I want you to know that I have found that the more money you make, the harder you work, and not necessarily in incremental hardness, but you could be working 100% harder for just a couple of dollars more per hour. So keep that in mind, because sometimes stress level is something that you don't want to go too high on that. You want to kind of keep it reduced. It's worth a little loss in a couple of dollars, I found. So that being said, so on to the next question that I get. What would be your advice when it comes to being in class? So I was a little older than a lot of the ladies that were in my class, and I already knew to be ready for a variety of classmates. And I actually was really looking forward to it. It really, really was. I just know that there are some tactics that I use to stay out of drama, because you are back in school, and we all know that school can be fun like that. So one of the things that I did was I tried to always bring my lunch, and I tried to eat it in my car. I just would go, and I would actually, because I have my own business, I already had my own business and I worked a job. I actually was making phone calls, doing admin work, doing Instagram posts, just trying to have some fun with my time and kind of get away from everybody. Because definitely there are, like in schools, little cliques. And I just knew that I had to have a plan going in, and it worked. I made friends with some really cool people. Number one. Number two, I had good boundaries with my time for lunch breaks. Number three, I made sure that I really interviewed my teachers. I wanted to find out what they knew in real life experience, what things that they experienced, without bugging them too much. You know, they're individuals also who have a life and want a break. But I just wanted to make sure that I asked everything that I could and just really sucked everything I could out of them. And I think that that really helped me a lot when I got into the real world clinically and went into my own business and added those services to my business. So to me, that was really nice. I made sure to have good boundaries, basically, is what I'm going to say, when you go to school. And also, I really wasn't one who took part in a lot of activities outside of school. So if there were friends that I made that had parties or celebrations or, you know, girls' trips, I really couldn't take part in that. I had an obligation to my home. I'm married. I have a husband. I have a lot of other responsibilities that come first and foremost. And so again, I kept good boundaries for that as well. And I just say be prepared for it. You know, if you are the kind of person that's like a social butterfly and you want to get out there, then by all means, go have fun. You're going to be around a bunch of like-minded women that all want to learn how to make women beautiful, how to stay beautiful, there's a lot of networking that you can make. So go for it, like literally, but just have good boundaries. That's one thing I want to remind you of. Okay, so the next thing that I want to go over is I want to say that you want to make sure that you do make a good friend. And I did. I made one good friend. She was probably the one person I could bounce ideas off of. I could kind of work with and just kind of liaison if we needed to borrow items or work together with clients or find each other certain connections. My friend her name was Ashley, and she was like so cool. And we're still friends now, but more on Instagram and texting. We don't really have the same lives, you know, they run kind of parallel, and that's okay. That's the way life is, but we're still friends. And so I did make a good friend, at least one good friend. And the other ladies also were really cool. Like I still could reach out to some of them, but it was really fun to have someone at least to go to Starbucks with, or to get a coffee with, or to laugh with. And it just made life fun. Of course, friends always do that. So, you know, you don't want to lose sight of that either. You want some friendships. All right. Well, I hope that was really helpful for you guys in terms of like going to aesthetic school. Find a good school, understand and manage your expectations for the pay that you're going to be looking at. Understand the pay range. Get that out of the way right away so that you know what you're looking at and you can manage your expectations on what you're going to do. And that way you can start planning ahead on how to maximize your profit no matter where you're at, or maximize how you sell yourself to a med spa or an office if you want to be an employee only in the beginning. Know what your state will allow you to do as an esthetician. Kind of plan ahead, kind of get an idea, just make a little bit of a map. Like, yeah, I think that if my state allows these 5 items to be done by an esthetician, then at least I know that I want to do maybe 1 and 2, or I want to focus on all of them. I want to do all of them. So that way, when you go into school, you can start to dig around and investigate from your instructors on what you'd like to do. You may end up doing none of them, but at least you go in with a plan, and that's what matters most. I always find that valuable. Then you also want to make sure that you have good boundaries. You're going to want to set boundaries in terms of your home, your family life, your work life. If you're working like I did part-time, you're going to want to make sure that you are setting boundaries with your students that you're going to be attending school with and your instructors. I think that you're going to have a lot of book studying first, and then you're going to move into clinical right away. So just start to jump on top of things if you can. I don't know if you're going to go day or night, but day will bring a little bit faster of a class setup. So you're going to be done with school faster. Wonderful. The sooner you can get out there, the better. You even might want to start getting out there and starting to become familiar with who's around you in terms of businesses and who may want to hire you, what your cost of expenses are going to be. Like, plan ahead. You could never jump ahead on that and make a blueprint for your business to follow or for where you want to work. Just plan ahead. It's really important. So hopefully this helps bring up a couple of good things. I didn't really hit on how I became an esthetician, why I became an esthetician. All of those details don't matter at this point. I just wanted to throw some good things out there for people to pay attention to as they enter into aesthetic school. And these are items that I think really helped save me time and energy when I was planning to get in. And if by chance there are any other questions that you guys have, let me know. Let me know and I'll answer them for you. I would be more than happy to. I feel like esthetician school was, for me, the right thing at the right time. I needed it. I loved every second of learning something new. I was already a permanent makeup artist, so I was already tattooing cosmetically, eyeliner, eyebrows, lip, blush on clients. I was already a dental hygienist. I was already administering local anesthetics. So I was comfortable with a lot of the work that you do with skincare. I knew about tissue healing. I was very confident in a lot of areas, but I wasn't confident in all aesthetic things. So that was amazing to me. Like, I was hungry for information. And I knew all of what I just spoke with you about. I already had that planned out. I already knew about how much I would make. I was in life. I was ready for that. I guess what I want to do is make sure I let someone know who thinks like, well, I'm going to get out of esthetician school and I'm going to make $100,000 a year immediately. You're really, chances are you're not. You're not going to, and that's okay. It would be unrealistic. But I want you to start setting yourself up for that type of success early on when you start looking for your class, because you don't want to be the person that I know, or one of the people that I know that went to school and had machines that weren't working. Like, you don't want to do that. You're not going to have any experience with, a hydrofacial type machine. You're not going to have any experience with a certain waxing protocol. You're not going to have experience with certain types of radio frequency. Like, those are things you want. So you don't want to miss out on that. I had exposure to a lot of med spa items years before when laws were different in Arizona. I was able to do chemical pills. I was able to do things that got me into the field with doctors by my side and nurses by my side. So I did have that advantage coming in, but there were a lot of ladies in my class that did not have that experience. And so some of these things I'm telling you are stemming from what I watched them go through, their worries and their anxiety. And I just think that going through and finding a place that has a great reputation from the very beginning is well worth it. Now, if you find a place that has a great reputation and has a higher cost, and then you have a place with a little bit less reputation, but a lot dramatic, like more of a drop in price, that's where you're going to have to figure out what's best for you. If you have any questions, please let me know. If you have any other videos that you want me to make, I can do it. I've been so busy and I apologize for disappearing, but I do want to get on and do a video on kind of my situation, because I have had people ask about that, being a dental hygienist and then being an esthetician, like what happened in my life that made that occur. But that's not what this video is about. So hopefully I answered some questions. You're going to love esthetician school. I hope that you don't go into it and then hate it. But, sometimes it happens in life. We do things and then we find out that it just wasn't for us. But that doesn't mean we didn't learn something that was meant to be, and that something else doesn't blossom from it. So don't worry about it. I'm sure you're making the right decision. All right, you guys have a great day. Again, subscribe if you could. I would appreciate it. And I will talk to you soon.